I could feel their eyes on me the moment I stepped into the courtroom. My mother leaned toward my father and whispered something that made him smirk. Then, openly, without shame, my parents rolled their eyes as if I were a joke that had gone on too long. I kept my head down. I was used to that look. I had seen it my whole life. Growing up, I was never the right child. My older brother Ethan was the golden one, straight A's, sports trophies, scholarships framed neatly on the wall. My parents spoke about him like he was a miracle. And then there was me. Too sensitive. Too quiet. Too much trouble. When I struggled in school, my mom said I was lazy. When I asked for help, my dad said I needed to toughen up. By 16, I was working nights at a grocery store just to pay for my own clothes. By 18, I moved out. By 25, I stopped calling. The only reason I was back in their lives now was because they dragged me into court. They said I owed them money. A lot of money. 3 years earlier, my parents had asked me to help them during a temporary rough patch. Dad's business had failed, Mom's health insurance lapsed, they were desperate. "We just need a loan," my mom said over the phone, crying. "We'll pay you back." I had just started my own small cleaning company. I wasn't rich, but I had savings. Despite everything, they were still my parents. I transferred them $48,000 over 6 months. No contract. No interest. Just trust. That was my first mistake. A year later, I asked about repayment. My dad laughed. "Don't be dramatic," he said. "We raised you, that money barely covers what we spent on you." When I reminded them it was a loan, not a gift, my mother's tone turned cold. "You wouldn't exist without us," she snapped. "You owe us." 2 weeks later, I was served court papers. They were suing me. So there I was sitting alone on the defendant's bench, while my parents whispered and smiled on the other side, confident and relaxed. They had hired an expensive lawyer. I had borrowed money to afford a modest one. When the judge entered, everyone stood. I noticed how my parents straightened, suddenly respectful. They nodded politely. When I stood, my mother didn't even look at me. The judge began by asking my parents' attorney to speak. The lawyer painted me as an ungrateful child. "She took advantage of her parents' vulnerability," he said smoothly. "They believed they were helping her financially, not the other way around." I clenched my hands. That wasn't true. But I waited. Then my mother took the stand. She dabbed her eyes with a tissue and spoke softly. "We sacrificed everything for her," she said, "and now she's trying to abandon us." My father nodded gravely beside her. The judge listened quietly. Then he turned to me. "Your turn." I stood on shaky legs. My parents didn't even bother hiding their expressions now. My dad smirked. My mom sighed loudly as if bored. I swallowed hard. "Your Honor," I said, my voice trembling, "I never planned to take anything from my parents. They asked me for help, I gave it." My mother scoffed. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Mrs. Carter," he said sharply, "you'll remain silent." That was the first time my parents looked uneasy. I continued. "I have bank records of every transfer, dates, amounts, messages where they promised to repay me." I handed the documents to my lawyer, who passed them to the judge. My dad shifted in his seat. The judge flipped through the pages slowly. Very slowly. The room was silent. Then he looked up. "Mrs. Carter," he said to my mother, "did you send these messages?" She hesitated. "Yes, but..." "And Mr. Carter," he continued, "did you receive these funds?" "Yes," my father admitted. The judge leaned back. "Then explain why you are suing your daughter for money she gave you." My parents' lawyer scrambled. "There was no written loan agreement." The judge raised his hand. "Verbal agreements are still agreements," he said, "especially when supported by evidence." My mother's face flushed red. "That money was ours," she burst out. "We raised her." The judge's expression hardened. "Sit down," he said firmly. She froze. Slowly she sat. Then the judge turned to me again. "Is there anything else you'd like to add?" My throat tightened. "Yes," I said quietly, "there's something else." I nodded to my lawyer. He stood and addressed the court. My client also paid the property taxes and medical bills for her parents' home during this period, totaling an additional $17,300. My parents' smiles vanished completely. My father stood up abruptly. That's not. Sit down, the judge snapped. The courtroom went still. The judge removed his glasses and looked directly at my parents. I have presided over many family disputes, he said slowly, but rarely have I seen parents attempt to financially exploit their own child and then mock her for defending herself. My mother's eyes widened. My father looked pale. The judge turned to me. You showed restraint, you showed generosity, and you came prepared. Then he delivered his ruling. Case dismissed. But he wasn't finished. He ordered my parents to repay the full amount, $65,300, with interest, and to cover my legal fees. My mother gasped. My father sat down heavily. They didn't look at me. They couldn't. As we exited the courtroom, my parents tried to speak to me. Wait, my mom said weakly, we didn't mean for it to go this far. I stopped, turned, looked at them for the first time that day. You rolled your eyes when I walked in, I said quietly. You thought I was weak. I took a breath. You taught me something today, I continued. Not how to be your daughter, but how to stand on my own. Then I walked away. A month later, the money arrived. Every cent. I paid off my debts, expanded my business, slept better. My parents didn't call. And for the first time in my life, that silence didn't hurt. It healed. People say family is everything. I disagree. Respect is everything. And sometimes, justice doesn't just change a case. It changes a life.